If, like other guitar players, you find yourself playing the same licks and ideas over and over and over again in every song, you might be tempted to try to ditch them entirely and look for brand new stuff to bring into your vocabulary. And while that's not a bad thing, what I'm going to show you in this video is a way to take the licks you are already comfortable with and expand upon them to bring new life to them in other contexts other than the ones you've been playing. So, here we go. Let's check it out. Okay, let's kick this off with a lick that could be considered a typical sort of guitar lick you would hear in a rock, metal, or blues song. And we'll just take something very basic like... Right? We've all heard licks like that from players for generations. Now, that sounds like a bit of a cliche sort of lick. I mean, at its heart, it looks like A minor, pentatonic. When people go to expand upon a lick or try to change it, they look at the scale structure and they go, well, it's pentatonic, and I'm trying to get away from pentatonics. So what they go to do is they go to look and change, play the lick maybe through a different scale or a different inversion of the scale. What I'm going to recommend is that you try to morph the idea into other chords. So, taking this lick, it stands to reason it would work over an A minor chord or A minor power chord or something like that. And it does very well. In fact, the notes of the A minor chord are hidden in that lick. A, C, and E, the notes of this chord, are integral to that lick. So instead of moving it to a different position of the scale and changing the fingering, let's try changing the chord type that it could be played over. So let's say you had a lick like that and you wanted to play it over a different chord type. Let's say the next chord you wanted to play it over was a D7. What you would want to do here is change only the notes that you need to make it D7 friendly. So the notes of a D7 chord, for example, are D, F sharp, A, and C natural. So what if we took this lick and try to morph it into something closer to a D7? Well, the original lick starts with a D bent to an E. Why don't we take the C sharp below the D and bend it to D, and that can act as our root note, the D. Then instead of the E that we had here on the second string, 5th fret, we'll make that F sharp. That's one of the notes of the chord. Then we can hit the A, like we did in the original lick. That was the 3rd note originally. We'll keep it there because it's actually part of the D7 chord. Now we've got... From there, we'll come down and we will maintain the F sharp that we had and do our pull to E. So far, what we have, here's the original lick, and here it is around a D7 centered harmony. Okay? Now, the D7 also contains a C natural, so we can maintain the phrase, and all we've really done is change the G that we used to play in the original lick to an F sharp, because F sharp is actually in the D7 chord. Check the difference out. Here's an A minor lick. Now, here it is with D7 alterations. You can hear the D7 chord ringing very clearly in just the notes alone. And that's pretty awesome, because that means if you're in a minor context, you're probably always going to play this lick. You'll just do it mindlessly knowing you're in a minor key. But what if the next chord is not minor, the next chord is major, or dominant 7 like a D7 would be? Then you can literally take the same lick and instantly convert it to this new type of harmony, this new situation. And the neat thing is that those two almost don't sound related. I mean, they're built on the same structure, they're built on the same contours, But when you change the quality of the harmony that it's based on, you end up with what sounds like a fresh new thing. So let's continue this idea. Let's pick, let's try an E chord. So I'm even going to stay in the same position here. I'm not going to move up to where, you know, E is the root on the high E string like the A was in the original one. I'm going to stay right here. Let's do D. We'll bend the D to E. We'll play E on the second string. We'll keep the A on the first string. Here's where I'm really going to make the notes conform to an E chord. I'm going to have G sharp here instead of G natural like the original. Right? Then I'll grab B on the top string instead of C and go, because the notes of an E chord are E, G sharp, and B. So E, another E, A on the top. I'll put the G sharp here. Go back to the E. Now that exact same lick is played over an E chord and it sounds right at home. So the idea here is you're not changing the basic structure of your original lick that you've come up with or that you've lived with forever. What we're doing is just altering the notes to suit a new situation. And really, at the end of the day, it almost sounds like you have three totally different licks, even though they're really coming from the same initial idea. Let's try a radical one here. Let's do B flat major 7. In this case, if I'm going to keep it here in the same general area, I think it would be better that I slide instead of bend the first note. And that's okay, because bending or sliding, they're both considered ornamentation or phrasing choices. So you don't necessarily have to maintain the exact structure or execution. So what I'm going to do here is slide instead of going like that. I'm going to slide, allowing me to stay here where B flat is the prominent note. What I'm doing is sliding C to D. D is one of the notes of a B flat chord. In fact, if we're doing B flat major 7, B flat, D, F, and A are our notes. So I'm going to slide C to D. Here's F. Here's B flat. Major 7, I'm going to put A over here. And then I'll do a pull off to the F. Right? Here's a D. Pretty wild when consider it comes from this. Right? Our ears have heard that for centuries. That sounds like a fresh idea to me. It sounds like it's not been rehashed a million times, even though the basic idea is still exactly the same. So that's pretty wild. When you do this kind of thing, you can alter little things to fit the chord. Here's B flat dominant 7. Right? So I would recommend checking this out. I think you'll find that altering something you've already done and already have mastered and changing the framework in which you would place it by changing the harmony, the notes of the chord that you would be playing it over, you'll get a whole new set of licks and vocabulary enhancers that will, help you to continue on. Not to say that you won't obviously learn new licks along the way. Of course, we want to continue to expand the vocabulary overall, but this is a great way to recycle what you already know and make it sound like you're already there. So check it out and let me know what you think.